From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the Business, Equity, and Opportunities Podcast with Scott Sander.
Welcome to the Business, Equity, and Opportunities Podcast. I'm Scott Sander. On this episode,
Jamie Dimon is Chair and CEO of JPMorgan Chase, the largest bank in the world. He was in town last week to see how some of the company's community projects are working. I sat down with him for an exclusive one-on-one interview.
Every business is unique and has a target audience. If you own or manage a business, Circulus Digital Media can help you connect and grow your customer base with turnkey digital solutions that are nimble, offering best-in-class results, service, and support to reach a bigger customer base, allowing you to pinpoint a specific audience down to the smallest details. Get outside the city, the state, span the globe. Put Circulus Digital Media to work for you. Get started now at circulusdigital.com. That's circulusdigital.com.
Is that a strategy that you think is a winning strategy, waiting, seeing? Are things moving in the direction that may give you more comfort or less comfort?
You know, I mean, I don't think they really had a choice, okay, which is they were a little late raising rates to 5%. The economy was very strong. It's still kind of strong. Consumers have money, house prices are up, stock prices are up, jobs are plentiful, wages are starting to go up, particularly the low end. Businesses are in good shape. So they're going to have to react to what actually happens. And so, you know, some think they'll reduce rates a little bit, some think a little bit more. I think there's a chance they may not reduce them at all. So I'd be a little cautious of this one because the good news is the strong economy. The bad news is that does correlate to inflation. So, but you'd rather have a strong economy with a little inflation than a really weak economy.
Everything you just said sounds rosier than maybe a couple years ago, but we still have everybody at home thinking this economy is shaky. I'm uncertain about it. Some people just flat say, I think it's bad. How do you square the two?
Yeah, I think there's part of the reason of all this polarization. I think there is probably an accurate thing when people say there are two Americas. That one America, you know, the bottom 20%, you know, are making $15 an hour or less. They may not have medical. They live in parts of the communities that may have a little bit more crime, and the schools aren't as good, and they might be a little angry. And they're you know, the people say you're $400 away from a medical, you know, an emergency. Well, that would make you uncomfortable. And I think there are things we should do to help that. Finally, wages are going up at the lower end. So I think that is a good thing. And so hopefully you can fix this. But a growing economy helps more people than anything. So to grow an economy, you know, you create more jobs and hopefully wages will go up.
That actually brings me to something you said almost a year ago in your shareholders letter about the earned income tax credit. You said that fixing income inequality will reignite the American dream, and you specifically pointed to the EITC as a way to do that. Help us understand your vision for that, and do you think the federal government can actually make it happen?
Yeah, so the EITC, just to give you the numbers, if you're a single parent making $14,000 a year with two children, you get a check for $6,000 at the end of the year. So it's kind of a negative income tax. If you're a single parent with no children, you only get $600. I would make it much bigger. Because I think jobs bring dignity, jobs bring better outcome, better family outcome, lower crime, less drugs. You know, that first rung in the ladder leads to the second rung in the ladder. So I would like double it and give rid of the child credit. You know, and because I think getting money into the hands of those people and into those communities is the best way to help them. There are other ways to help. You know, you can talk about child care and health care and Obamacare, but that is in the community, in their families. They'll take better care. They can afford more things. And so, and by the way, Democrats and Republicans support this. Paul Ryan supported it. I know the Democrats support it. There are a whole bunch of political reasons why we can't get it over the line. The other thing that's very important is when if we create a system like that to have all benefits, a lot of benefits come to a cliff. So it's like if you earn one more dollar, you lose, you know, a lot of your food stamps, or you lose, you know, part of any other kind of welfare check. They have to be phased in. We have to make it so that more people want to work. There's dignity working. It adds to the workforce. It'll grow productivity. It'll be great for those communities. It'll be great for the country. So this one I think is really important to try to get done.
Do you feel it has any traction? You've mentioned that there is support outside the chambers of Congress. What then has to happen to actually make it happen?
I don't know. I mean, you know, if you look at, like I said, Republicans and Democrats support it. I think businesses support it. I think the Business Roundtable supports it. I think it'll have to be part of a bigger compromise one day. So, you know, if the tax bills ever opened up again, this would be part of it. You got to pay for it. It would cost another 30, 40, or $50 billion. But there are a lot of tax breaks out there that are unnecessary, like including carried interest, by the way. And so I think there are ways to, you know, pay for it that would make sense. So I think it would help the American dream. I think it would help this fraying economy. I think it would reduce polarization that, a lot of Americans don't feel it's been fair to them. It becomes a lot fairer all of a sudden.
Tell me a little bit more about that, the American dream specifically. People feel that they will never be able to come to your bank and ask for a home loan because they've given up even thinking about it. Does reality reflect the feeling in it?
Yeah, well, I think so. You got to be careful about overstatements. I think 100 million people own homes. 40 million don't have mortgages. We're making mortgages every day to new people. So I think it goes to, again, there's a group of people who don't feel comfortable going to a bank. The next thing I'm doing after this, I'm doing a town hall, but after this, I'm going to a community branch, which we put in lower income neighborhoods. They're built or reconstructed by minority groups. We hire locally, the art is local, the food is local, maintain is local. And what we call a community branch, a community manager gets to know all the local religious institutions, not-for-profits, small businesses, and we have what we call financial education and financial health. Come in and we'll teach you how you get a mortgage, how you get a home, how you improve your credit score. And this works. I mean, I think you are coming to it, at least your TV crew. Yeah, and so I think it actually works, and we've opened 16, we'll probably open more down the road. We have 150 community managers, so reaching out. The other thing I'll point out, I mentioned it to the print press I just met with, the government can do more. So it's one thing for us to do it, but the government has made mortgages so much more expensive than they need to be with, I think just overburdening rules and regulations on origination. Any one of your folks out there who got a mortgage recently, you're signing 40 documents, it raises the cost for a mortgage, it raises the cost, we don't have a securitization market. And the problem with that is that it raises the cost of a small mortgage by maybe 100 basis points. And therefore, if you're going to take out a $150,000 mortgage, that 100 basis points may be the difference about whether you can afford it or not. And that's terrible, because the best way to build wealth that most people started was their home. And those smaller mortgages would help, minorities and lower income people more than anybody else. So one of the things we do is we try to do our own thing. We also try to fight for policies in Washington, D.C. that we think will be great for America.
In that way, are we over-focusing on things like interest rates, which historically, if you look 30, 40 years ago, are still fairly low? If the added fees and taxes and things of that nature are the real killers of the mortgage.
Yeah, but it's a very good point. Somewhat the economy is like the weather and interest rates and move around and a whole bunch of different things. But there are so many things we can fix unrelated to that. Inner city schools, get kids jobs, earn income tax credit, how we deal with mortgages, immigration. We have to fix immigration. If you want to reduce polarization, have a people feel more comfortable about our country, we've got to fix the problems that they read about every single day. And some will be, some of those problems are for the lower income, some are just generic, like immigration, that people don't want to see that we can't control our borders. And so there are so many things we can do. That it is amazing. And government should do some, business should do some. Obviously, you can't do it without collaboration between government and business. So we work in towns like Indianapolis, we have great collaboration. We've been here for 180, 190 years. We bank a lot of the companies here. When the government asks us to help in a bunch of things, we're right in all the time. We want them to work, but collaboration makes a big difference.
What are challenges for a place like Indianapolis and neighboring states and cities?
Yeah, I think they're pretty much the same. You have wonderful universities, but if you look at kids, they got to be educated to get jobs. Too much focus in education has been on, graduating college or graduating this, but it should be on jobs. I think schools should be measuring, did the kids get out and get a good job? So you could be a teller and make $40,000 a year as a 17-year-old. And if you happen to have a family at 18 or whatever, you get $20,000 in medical benefits for your family. And so you could be a welder, you could be a coder, you could be cyber, you could be automotive, you could be all those jobs are $40,000 to $60,000, $70,000 a year. So jobs, education. I know there are a lot of efforts taking place in Indianapolis and around the country, but I think we've fallen behind as a nation. These other programs I mentioned, to help the lower income neighborhoods, affordable housing. I'm not an expert about affordable housing here. A lot of people talk about it being a big deal to grow and create jobs, but in a lot of places, it's the local laws that stop affordable housing. It's not that you can't get the loan or the bank to lend the money there. They can't build there, or the building is so expensive it takes too long. Permitting. My guess is I took a bunch of companies here and asked them what's slowing them down. They can't get federal, state, and local permits, so they can't build that next thing, and so those things we should fix. And some are local. Some places are great at this, and some are not as good at it. But the ones not as good at it are driving out jobs. And the other thing, which I'd say, is collaboration. Business is not demonic. Business creates the jobs. 160 million people, or maybe more now, go to work every day. 140,000 work for business. Most of them actually like their jobs. This notion that they don't, fundamentally, is not true. And we train people and give them opportunity, and that's true for big companies and small companies. So being conducive to business and collaborating with business is how it works. If you look at California and New York, they're driving a lot of people out, businesses and high-income individuals, and that's a mistake over time.
In terms of collaboration and working together, JPMorgan Chase Foundation has done a remarkable thing in supporting what we've called the Multicultural Media Producing Program. The idea is to make sure there are more voices from more backgrounds in what we're doing right now. Why are programs outside your immediate purview, in other words, collaborating with somebody else, a good idea? And do you have a thought about that specific program?
Yeah. First of all, congratulations to you all. And I think it's 70 years of Black-owned TV stations. I think that's fabulous. Look, we and you're right, our specialty is banking and things like that. So we try to do where we can actually add value. But that adds value because it grows businesses. And so when you have good local partners, that's where we partner up. If they're bad local partners, we will not do it. So we actually try to evaluate who are they, what are they doing, what they're hoping to accomplish. Outreach to, we have a huge outreach to the minority community, which we will continue. Nothing what the Supreme Court said is going to change us, reaching out to the Black community, the Hispanic community, the LGBT community. And then we try to find special programs. I just met with all these community branches. I meet with the local generally Black-owned newspapers. I didn't know there were so many of them, and that they really reach into those communities in a way that other people don't. And they have very good reporters. I remember reading one of the newspaper things from Amsterdam News, and I said, that's far better than Wall Street Journal. They actually took the time to go through all of it. They sat in the branch, and instead of watching, instead of trying to sell them what a great job we do, they saw the community there. They ate the food. They saw the pictures that people, the paintings that were done by local artists. They saw the small businesses come in. They saw segments where women were coming in to learn about how to get a mortgage or how to start a business, something like that. So that's how you outreach into these communities, is find them where they are.
You mentioned the Supreme Court. It feels like DEI programs may be changing because of the dictates of government or the whims of public opinion. Are DEI programs under siege? Will they change the way you do what you do to accomplish what you just described?
So the Supreme Court spoke, and we have to follow the law. And very roughly put, they said no quotas. And they have no quotas. We have a closed system. So if you're hiring 100 people, you can have a quota for 20 minorities. But they don't say you can't reach out to various groups. So we're a bank. It's not going to change almost anything that we do. And by the way, I'm a red-blooded, full-throated, capitalist American patriot. So I'm not interested in other people, saying what we're doing. We reach out to communities. We reach out to the press. We reach out to the Black community. We reach out to the LGBT community. So it's not going to change these special programs. And it lifts up. If you want to be a really good company, your employees have to trust you. Your communities have to trust you. Your shareholders have to know have to trust you. That's what we do. And we do it around the world. So it won't change very much for us. And I understand the anger on both sides sometimes, because there's a little bit of truth. People in Harvard University overdid it. I totally agree with that. And I went there. Fortunately, I went to the business school. But hopefully, I still think Harvard hasn't answered the main question. What did you learn, and what are you going to change?
Fundamental business leadership question, isn't it?
It's fundamental, yes.
Our time is short. I always like to end an interview with, what did I fail to ask you that you would like the folks at home to know? Well,
you covered an awful lot of ground in a short period of time. So what do you like to know? America is still the most unbelievable country on the planet. And while we talk about all the negatives sometimes, we have the most innovative. We have all the foodborne energy we need, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of enterprise are unbelievable. Democracy and freedom and capital they're really not inseparable. You can do what you want with your money. You can start a business where you want. And a lot of people, if you travel the world with me, you'd see that's not true elsewhere. The rule of law is not the same, even though I think our litigious system is getting out of control. But you don't necessarily have your money. You can't start businesses. You can't move where you want. It is exceptional. And I think we should exalt about that exceptionalism and acknowledge the flaws and fix them, but not act like the flaws are the country. They are not. And so I think people, should take a deep breath, look at our blessings, and I think American leadership is needed around the world. There's a lot of, hopefully people learn from the invasion of Ukraine. The world is not a safe place. Because the world is not a safe place, what happened in World War I and World War II can't happen again. It will not be safe for us either if we don't have proper global leadership, and it can only come from this country. So that's it.
Our thanks again to all the contributors who joined us for this episode of the Business Equity and Opportunities podcast. We hope you found it enlightening, useful, and inspiring. You'll find more information about the show on our website, BEOshow.com. You can watch Business Equity and Opportunities Sunday mornings at 10 on Wish TV or live stream it through wishtv.com. Each week we provide 7 full segments with topics ranging from how to get started and how to access capital to the day-to-day running of your business and questions about accounting and bookkeeping. We feature business news and trends and always share a success story from one of our contributors. Join us next time for more insights into the world of small business. Be sure to sign up for our Business Equity and Opportunities newsletter to get even more valuable, up-to-date information. And if you have any questions or you'd like to be part of our show, please email us. The address is beo@wishtv.com. We'd love to hear from you. I'm Scott Sander. Thanks for listening.
Watch the Business Equity and Opportunities Show on Wish TV and access all of our content and share it on demand anytime at BEOshow.com. You can find more podcasts from Wish TV on the All Indiana Podcast Network at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.